You realize to many Americans right now that looks like we're giving Lindsay Lohan the keys to the minibar.
It might be the soundbite of the week. All right, so why was Equifax just awarded a multi-million-dollar contract from the IRS? And what do Americans need to do now to protect themselves? Here to weigh in is cybersecurity expert and attorney Lisa Garber. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
And it's kind of a dry subject, but it's hard to find one that really affects more people than this type of thing, cybersecurity, and all your information is floating around out there somewhere.
I think it's an exciting topic because these are now two of the most major data breaches we've seen come up head to head. We have Equifax, we have Yahoo, and millions and billions of people affected. This is humongous.
Well, I mean, what are you supposed to do at this point? I mean, everything that, at least for the younger generation, everything is online now. I mean, your information, I can't even think how many different places have my personal information and my credit card and everything that makes me, my social security number in some cases.
Sure.
How do you protect yourself?
Sure, you have online banking, you have social media platforms.
It's everywhere.
And at this point, with the Equifax breach, you're talking about social security numbers, your address, your driver's license number. And then with Yahoo, you're talking about answers to security questions. Who was your first grade teacher? What street did you grow up on?
Right.
With the combination of this information, which could be up for sale on the dark net, who knows what hackers could do with it?
Yeah, and once you get all that stuff, you have access to everything that you need.
You have the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so easy to just swipe it, and then, it's like those movies, like what was it, The Net with Sandra Bullock, where all of a sudden her identity is just taken. That's like the nightmare of it. All right, so Equifax has this huge exploitation of their private server, however you want to say it. All their information gets out, and then the next thing we know, they're getting a contract from the U.S. government. I mean, it really does. The optics of that look terrible. How did that happen?
It doesn't look good, and now we have these great sound bites from U.S. senators saying you gave Lindsay Lohan the keys to the minibar.
Right.
I know Senator Elizabeth Warren is up in arms as well and trying to put forth different acts to protect consumers, and we have to. It's now not just the $1 million question, it's the $7.5 million question.
Right.
Why did the IRS get awarded, why did Equifax get awarded this IRS contract? And we could say, well, maybe it was going through months and months of negotiation. The IRS is saying it was just a stopgap measure because they were already using Equifax to verify taxpayer identities and also protect that information. They're saying no taxpayer identities were taken because of this breach. But at this point, why would they use Equifax?
But they're trying to give security. They're trying to teach security, and then they don't have security for themselves.
No,
I mean,
don't.
It's just hilarious to me that they can even try and claim that they can do this. And some could argue that maybe they don't. They're the only company that can handle this kind of contract. I think that was one of the arguments. But let's go to Yahoo here for a second and talk about that company. This was a 2013 breach, but we've recently seen just how expansive it was, right?
It's so scary because you look back, and as a consumer, you're pretty powerless, right? Because some of these breaches don't get announced for months or years down the line. As you mentioned, it was 2013, and we're talking about data spanning over 3 billion accounts at this point. If you ever had a Yahoo account, you could have been affected.
Right. What do we do to prevent this? I mean, obviously, I think it's pathetic that these companies make so much money and can't secure. I mean, look at how much is Yahoo worth? How much is Equifax worth? I mean, these online internet type companies are worth so much money. How can they not be able to secure this stuff? But at the end of the day, there's always going to be a hacker looking for the next move to get past that. I mean, do we need to make hacking more of a crime? Do we need to increase those punishments when we catch these people, throw them in jail for the rest of their lives? What do we do?
And people are trying to make the C-suite personally liable for not having that security in place. And whether you're a large, expensive company or a tiny company operating out of a state, you still are a target for hackers, and everybody has to be proactive. And it's not just having the testing done and the auditing done and putting those measures in place, and we like to call it baking in security to procedures that are existing, but you also have to be able to react quickly, and that's why everybody is so up in arms, because after all of these months that the hack went undetected, it's so much harder to respond.
Yeah. These friggin' hackers, I say it every time. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for coming on this morning. We appreciate it, and we'll be right back.